Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Andrew Bermudez. Thanks for being on the show, Andrew.
Hey, thanks for having me, Whitney.
Andrew is a former senior vice president with Lee and Associates in Irvine, California, and the CEO of GetDigsy.com. Andrew was sick of the complicated technology solutions and has built tips, tricks, and technologies that are easy to implement, yet powerful in the industry. Andrew, welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to hearing just tips and tricks. I love hearing about technology and different ways to automate things, just making it easier on our team, but also, even bringing more accuracy to things. And, there's so many ways that technology has helped us, in this business, but I'm looking forward to what you've done and what you are going to present to us today. But give us a little more about your background. Who are you and what are you doing? How'd you get to this real estate business?
Yeah, so to start at the beginning, and I'll make this really short, I was born and raised in Ecuador, actually. So South America, third world country. Banks went bankrupt. My parents moved to the United States back in 93. And then in high school, I had taught myself how to code. And my parents didn't have any money to send me to college. So I basically was trying to figure out ways that I could make money to put myself through college. Met this gentleman. I was reading a lot of like Dale Carnegie and things because I used to be very introverted. And I met a guy from the Dale Carnegie Institute. And he's like, hey, I work in commercial real estate. Trust me, come work with me and you will be the most social butterfly ever. So that really captivated me. I did that. And within the first 3 months, I learned how to cold call in person on the phone and really just got out of my comfort zone, severely got out of my comfort zone. So I was like a bull in a china closet, right? And what I noticed the first 3 months working there is that they were like sitting on gold mines. And the problem was really trying to sift all of the leads that they were getting from sign calls. They weren't really generating anything via email. This is back when we were actively using faxes. But I was able to help see some of the pain points from the brokers. And it was like, hey, all of these leads that we get, all these sign calls, we have to put in a prospect report every Friday, and we hate it. It takes us like 2, 3, 4 hours. And I said, well, I'll do that for you. And in exchange, why don't I run with the leads that you don't want to work with, and I'll call them. I did that. I built a little program to sift all of that. And with a few clicks, I'd have, a report for John Doe, for Phil, for Tiffany, et cetera. And what ended up happening is I started looking into email and then marketing properties via email, and then really just thinking outside the box, like generating leads on Craigslist, et cetera. And really, it was just really quickly I became partner, which basically gives you profit sharing and a title of vice president. And a year and a half later, I became senior vice president. And actively the whole time I was building technologies to automate workflow. And really what I like to, what it's akin to is I heard this saying from a friend of mine who built a few technology companies that he built and sold. And I consider him a mentor, Cleve Adams. And he told me one time, what's the fastest way to find a needle in the haystack? And the answer he gave was so profound. He goes, you burn the damn haystack. Instead of looking, pulling little threads here and there, instead of using a magnet, you just throw a match in there, you go have a beer, come back, and boom, there's all of the needle in the haystack. So I've always looked at life that way. It's like, hey, you have a problem. What is the simplest or the most creative solution that will actually get you the result? We tend to focus on the process and what we can do rather than focus on the result. Like if you grab the result and you actually reverse engineer backwards, you can actually get to the solution much faster. So that's sort of where we come at Digsy. We look at problems, right? We go, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to make sure I don't miss a deal of people that are searching for commercial real estate for sale or for lease. And I want to know who's out there, so I have a competitive advantage, or, hey, I want to generate new clients to represent. So in a nutshell, that's essentially necessity is the mother of all invention. So that's what we've done, and we enjoy it.
No,
a
that's
lot.
awesome. That's such an interesting background and how you got to where you're at now. And I love that quote. The fastest way to find a needle in the haystacks, burn the hay. I mean, that's great. A great thought process, and to reverse engineer things like you mentioned. That's we do that often. Well, how do we get there? Well, where do we want to go first, and then figuring out, what's the steps to get there. So, Andrew, tell me though, what how this platform, how these systems help people in commercial real estate.
Yeah, it's simple. So you have two sets of people, right? Actually, I would say you have a total of three personas. The first persona is a commercial real estate professional. It can be a broker, an in-house leasing person, a property manager. What they're really interested is in leasing or selling available property, and they want to do that as fast as possible. Then you have brokers on the other extreme, and whatever brokers, professionals that represent tenants and buyers. So they don't necessarily market property, but they find people who are looking for property to kind of become their matchmaker and make a commission. And in between, there's a hybrid of those two, where they list property, but at the same time, they want to represent tenants and buyers. So we have these tools that basically, one of the big concerns that commercial real estate professionals have is when they have a property, and then all of a sudden they find out that, let's say they had the perfect property for Amazon, and then they find out that the building down the street leased to Amazon, and they never got the call from Amazon or Amazon's broker, right? The broker's upset because he missed that deal. Now, the other thing that's upset is they get a call from their landlord or the property owner, furious, saying, why didn't we get in front of that deal? And simply the real estate professional goes, I didn't even know they were in the market. So what happens is, if you look at the statistics, and this is even in most like listing services, like the usual suspects, they'll have statistics on their website, how many visits they get, how many properties are viewed a month, et cetera. And what you find out is that, and this is even Zillow. So the board member of Zillow, Gordon Stevenson's one of our investors. Some of the early guys at Loopnet are investors in our company. And then a friend of mine used to be the chairman and CEO of Realtor.com. And the average number of people that reveal their identity to a broker, meaning that, hey, I saw Whitney's property, I'm going to inquire on Whitney's property. Now you know my name, email address, and phone number. It's 1.2%. In residential, it goes as high as 1.5% on average. So that means that if 100 people look at your property, right, you're missing 98.5 of them. So Amazon could have looked at it, and for some reason they said, you know what, I don't think they'll give us a TI dollars, or the picture doesn't look that well, or we need a little bit more land, or we need 2 docks, but it only has 1. When that landlord or that agent would have been like, dude, for Amazon, we would have freaking dug truck wells like out of our own pocket to get that deal, but you didn't know who it was. So we basically developed a technology so Digsy in itself is a free way to market your properties, right? And market them online. So when Amazon or the facilities manager at Amazon, or when a mom and pop shop is looking for commercial real estate, they'll see the usual suspects on the first page of Google, but they also see, hey, find industrial, retail, multifamily, whatever, for sale or lease here. So they find us. So it's a way to market your properties, not to brokers, but to market them to the end users. So the buyer, the investor, and the tenant. So that's one way, and that's free. Now, when you have an upgraded account, what it does is, anytime that you have a brochure, a floor plan, a 3D tour, whatever, Digsy gives you this link, and it's basically a trackable link. Think about it like a spy tool almost. So the brokers will basically, when they're sending out an email blast, or they're creating a brochure and they're uploading it on a different platform, they'll put these links in the brochure. So like they'll say, okay, here's property A, and click here to download the full brochure, click here to view the 3D tour, but they've embedded these trackable links. So when the user goes there and they click on it, they basically get presented a form, and they say name, email address, and phone number. Our system, when they're typing in the phone number, it's actually checking with the telecom companies that it's a live phone number. And at the same time, they have to confirm their email address. Now, if they've done this, if that user, that person has ever done this before on any Digsy, with any Digsy's clients, what we call these magic links, the trackable links, if they've ever done it before, they don't have to go through that process. So it's invisible to them. But then immediately when they unlock the brochure or the 3D tour, et cetera, Whitney, you get an email saying, Andrew Bermudez just unlocked the brochure. Phone number, email, name. So that's one way. Then
So I mean, we could call that person right then if we wanted.
exactly, and that's the thing. And also, if you see the same person, like opening and downloading and doing multiple things, then you know the intent is higher. Now, the second thing that's interesting is what will happen often is you'll see a person at like this domain. Let's just say it's Amazon. You see this person, so like let's say Whitney at Amazon, download, unlock the brochure, etc. But then you start seeing Joe at Amazon. Then you start seeing, Jessica at Amazon. So that means they're circulating internally. So you pick up the phone and you call them right away because there's high intent. But it's a way for you to get intelligence on the 98.5% of people that you're missing. And it basically allows you to not miss any deals and move properties faster too. So that's for the listing side. Now, what we do is in residential, you have what's called the IDX, the Information Data Exchange. And in commercial real estate, we've never had this. So like if you've ever gone to a realtor website, like you'll see that they show all of the listings in the market, right? And they do that because they know that if somebody runs into the website and starts browsing through property, they want to unlock, let's say, pricing or let's say a virtual tour, they have to enter their information. Now that agent has a buyer lead, right? Well, we haven't had that because there's like 50 commercial real estate listing services in the US, and that's just counting. I'm sure there's much more. But none of them have really broken through. And the problem is that data wants to be free, and it's 2020, right? So the fact that you just build your business around just data that's commoditized and anybody can go and aggregate is a very vulnerable position to be in. So what we said is like, look, let's just go out and really build an MLS for commercial real estate. Let's give brokers the tools to do their listings on there. Let's let them, present their listings and everybody's listings on their site, et cetera. So the brokers, we have what's called the personal IDX. And what's interesting about this tool is there's multiple use scenarios, like sending out email blasts, putting a link on your business card that says, hey, Andrew Bermudez, XYZ Realty, view all properties in the market by clicking at, andrewbermudez.com or something like that. So then I can view all the properties, and then the moment that, let's say, Whitney, you're looking at that, at a property, you unlock pricing or anything else, I get notified that you're in the market or you're curious. So the best use scenario that I've seen, it's a really creative, is brokers grab this, and because brokers don't leverage Google or Google AdWords, they're buying Google ads against the keywords of people who are looking for commercial real estate. So commercial property for rent, commercial property for sale, commercial real estate for sale, multifamily apartments for sale, et cetera. And they're basically they're buying those keywords, and then they're sending people to that page. And in their market, of course, right? They say, okay, like I'm in Tucson, Arizona, they're targeting Tucson, and the personal IDX is focused on the Tucson area. But it's incredible how many leads these brokers are getting simply because they're buying ads, they're showing the listings, right? And then at the same time, they're just getting notified, like this stranger unlock pricing, this stranger viewed the 3D tour, this stranger, unlock the brochure. So it's a fantastic way for you to not only, know who's looking at your properties, but also find who's looking online. And there's multiple use cases, like people are using that personal IDX link in Craigslist. They're using an email blast. Some are thinking about putting on their business cards, like I mentioned, but there's just multiple ways. Also putting them on their LinkedIn profiles, like, some people are using Linktree, they'll put on Linktree. One really interesting guy, and I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Robbie Lober. He's in his early 20s, broker, and he's in Tampa, Florida at Boutique National. This guy, nobody knew about earlier this year, and he just blew up on LinkedIn, kind of like how you and I met. And he gets leads he has the personal IDX in his signature block. So anytime that he emails somebody at the very top, right before his name, it says, click here to view all Tampa listings. But the interesting thing is he's generating leads from his Google, free page, Google My Business page. And basically, people are typing in best commercial broker in Tampa, and he's popping up. He called me earlier this week saying that he got a call from a property owner that has these triple net investment properties and wants to sell them. and that he found him through Google My Business. It's incredible.
What is Google My Business? I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, so it's basically it's a local listing. So when you go to Google and let's say you're trying to find the phone number to your favorite restaurant, and then you get the search results for web pages, and then on the right hand side or even sandwich in between, you get the listings of the businesses, and you're able to click on it and view the profile on that. So it's basically it's a Google Maps listing.
Andrew, do you have a specific example of a seller or buyer that's recently used Digsy and just some details of how it helped them?
It depends on what. Yes, all the time. It's funny. So I was talking to one of my investors yesterday, and he works for one of these big commercial real estate firms, and he's catching up with me on some things. And he's like, "Oh, by the way, I sent my mom to go use Digsy, and she found a property through Digsy and ended up working with this broker who I know and he knows, that's friends of the family. They just happened to, she just happened to contact him on that specific property, and they closed a deal." So it's kind of fun to see your investor who's put in, a lot of money as an angel, and then his mom uses the platform and closes a deal. So that's one. I just mentioned Robbie generating those leads with his personal IDX link on his Google My Business page. We have one client from Sperry, not SVN, but Sperry. It's the new. It's not SVN, but it's Rand Sperry started a new company basically. So he's an investment broker. He basically has used that his link, his personal IDX, to get leads online from Google traffic. And in the past week, I think he's generated 20 or 30 leads. Landlords and property owners, they list their properties for free. They get a lot more exposure when they upgrade their accounts, and they get all these other tools that we've been talking about. But yeah, they just get basically calls from, either brokers who are for some reason looking at our site instead of the whatever their solution they're using already. And they've closed deals and things like that. So it's been pretty fun. And in fact, I was talking to a friend of mine that was a broker, a Cushman, a retail broker, and then he went to go work for this property owner. It's kind of like a mid-size investment firm, and they do in-house leasing. And he did a deal that came from Digsy as well, and that was a lease deal. Another broker, Cushman and Wakefield, did I think his commission was 200-something thousand. And this was earlier this year. He closed that deal by using Digsy. He found the buyer that way. So it's been fun.
Bedfords Cost Segregation specializes in generating significant tax savings via their engineering-based studies for commercial real estate clients nationwide. Founded in 2002, Bedford is one of the largest independently owned cost segregation providers in the country, with over 14,000 studies completed to date in multiple offices throughout. The most important decision ownership can make when incorporating cost segregation within their real estate portfolio is selecting the right provider. With only 43 certified cost segregation professionals nationwide, Bedford is proud to employ 8 of them and takes the quality of their people as seriously as their studies. Every certified cost segregation professional has passed a rigorous test combining knowledge of technical engineering issues, legal tax issues, ethics standards, and requires a strict level of prior work experience to be eligible. Bottom line, not all cost segregation providers are created equal. So be sure to take the decision seriously from the beginning to protect yourself for years to come. Please contact Bedford's Business Development Director, Frank Judici, to learn more. Anything else about Digsy you want to share, Andrew, before we have to move to a few final questions?
I don't think so. I think we got it. Basically, what differentiates us is not only a place to list your property, but we give you tools, intelligence tools and lead generation tools to really go beyond that. By the way, I saw the book No Excuses from Brian Tracy in the background.
Yeah.
Brian Tracy, when I started in commercial real estate, I listened to all his tapes from Nightingale Kona. I read all his books. He's awesome. He used to be a commercial real estate broker.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. I can't recommend that book enough, just to give you a good kick in the pants,
Mm-hmm. He's great.
Well, Andrew, I believe anyone that's successful in business has a high level of self-discipline, and that book definitely talks about that a lot, but how did you gain such a high level of self-discipline?
I think I'm still working on it. Initially, it was just discipline. Like you tell yourself, I'm going to do this later, I'm going to do it there. But then you start realizing, hey, I need to develop new habits. So it's a conscious effort, really. For example, going to the gym, I want to go to the gym 5 times a week, and you miss that one day because you're lazy, and then you feel like crap the next day. So it's kind of like, your expectations of yourself, you start really condition yourself to become better and better. But it's a slow process. To this day, for example, I would say I have discipline, but I'm a lot more. I'm more judging. I'll give you an example. So, a few nights a week, because we have a technology company and it's still, in what quote unquote startup mode, even though we're making money. It's still, there's things that I have to do at night, right? And I can do them now because I don't have a child right now, right? So my wife goes to bed, and then I jump on the computer, and I'll work late. And sometimes, you'd say, okay, I'm going to get out of bed at like 6 a.m., et cetera, but your body's demanding more sleep. Now, naturally, you would try to wake up at 6, but now that I'm older, I understand that I need that rest. So, and I'll make it a priority. Like if I have meetings in the morning and I know I'm going to do that, I'll shoot emails and I'll make sure to text people, say, hey, I'm not going to be able to make it. We need to reschedule. So I'm a lot more judging about what I discipline myself with. Now, for example, going to the gym, because, with COVID, I've gained a ton of weight. So I started going to the gym as soon as the gyms opened up. They have 6-foot distancing. So Sunday through Thursday, I'll go to the gym either in the morning if I don't have that much that many meetings, or like mental, if I don't have like big problem solving or strategic planning or things that demand a lot of energy. Otherwise, I'll burn out at the gym, and then I have my creativity's gone and my thought process is gone. But I'll go like really after work, and I just try to push that on health, but a lot more judging. So I won't necessarily, miss the gym, or miss going to the gym, but at the same time, I'll make sure that I'm very judging about what disciplines I'm actually supposed to follow based on what my values are. It's really easy, and here's the one thing I wanted to get out over there, Winnie. I know I'm going on a rant about this, but it's really easy to develop discipline on the wrong things, right? Sure. You climb the ladder. I mean, you're an avid reader, so you probably read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. You climb the ladder, you spend all this time and energy only to find out that at the top rung, the ladder was in the wrong wall, right? And that's something that over time and with experience I've learned, and it's not necessarily about discipline. You start if what you think is a good discipline, but if it's not getting you towards your goal, you definitely need to nix that, because every discipline you try to instill is actually sucking up mental and soul energy, because there's something beyond just the physical energy. It's a lot more, it's taxing.
Yeah, or another way you could have been spending that time, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Are there a couple daily habits that you have that you're very disciplined about that has helped you achieve success?
Yes. So the first thing I do, and this is much more of a default habit, is I drink maybe 2 cups of coffee a day. But right when I wake up, I'll go downstairs, make myself a coffee, and then there you go. And I like a lot of cream in my coffee, which I'm just like, I just love it. It just tastes so good. So I'll do that, and I'll sit down, and I won't look at email. I won't do that. And that's been a hard discipline to get through. What I'll do is I'll open up my notes app on my phone and go, okay, what's my goal for the week? Where am I? And then I'll look at, like, for example, if I'm working with a sales team, look at the sales number. How many new contracts are we away from hitting the monthly goal? But the main thing that I do, and this is the pivotal one, on Monday, every Monday, I block off my entire day. Rarely do I have a Zoom meeting or anything. Mondays is just basically busiest day for everybody, perfect day for me to not, worry about hitting the ground running, because everybody's hitting the ground running at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll basically go through our just little quick snippets. I go, okay, what's our goal this month? What needs to be done? and not specifics, but what needs to be done. So for example, it might be develop a scalable sales model, figure out the messaging for the personal IDX product, and then it'll be like retain customers. And I'll go, okay, great. What did we do last week? Just really quick snippets. Don't spend more than an hour on it. And then I look at the numbers that the team has on missing their goals, et cetera. And I basically use that to set up my day, because you can have like a bunch of tasks, like go to the mail, do this, go pick up the mail at the office, do X, Y, and Z, only to find out that those 3 goals for the week that are going to get you to the goal for the month or the next 2 quarters, I'm able to say, nope, 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 yes, 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 yes. And I basically, as a not only startups, but it applies to everybody. One venture capitalist put it very well. When you're running a business, there's fires everywhere. It's your job to know which ones to put out, because you got to let some things burn. So it's hard, but it's definitely that's my habit basically. It's just spending some time realizing, okay, what's going to move us forward? What do we actually need to do? And then saying, oh, I've got 100 things to do, but I'm only going to do these 3.
That's difficult, right? I mean, that is a difficult thing to achieve, and not just get overwhelmed for one, but know which tasks.
It is super hard. It's actually interesting. If you actually look at the things that that people just in general achieve in a day, think about running errands on a Saturday. There's usually somewhere between 3, no more than 4 things that are achievable in that day, because they all take time. And on top of that, you have your daily responsibilities to take care of the kids, making breakfast, making lunch, dinner, etc. So there's usually just 3 things that you can do. And then you might have like 100 lists, like clean the garage and all this other stuff. You kind of have to plan ahead for those things, because you can only squeeze in just a few of them. And we have mental energy and physical energy. And you just got to be very ruthless with your time. So you just got to let some things burn, and it sucks. It took me a long, long, long time. I want to say about 2 years to feel comfortable letting things burn, but that's what you got to do.
What's a way you've recently improved your business that we can apply to ours?
It's a really good question. Oh, yeah. So we were trying to figure out, there's this one product that we're piloting in Orange County, California. And we're trying to figure out, okay, before we hire more salespeople, what's the path to grow sales and revenue in this one thing? So of course, I need to do a lot of this work with the team. And we said, okay, well, let's contact the commercial real estate professionals directly. Let's contact their landlords. Let's contact everything else. And let's contact their assistants. That came later. So you get more, as you start hitting the wall that something's not working, then you start digging and scraping the bottom of the barrel to see if you find some more diamonds. So one thing that we did that's interesting is we created, so I love email, because you can email somebody something that might be interesting. So you make sure that you have an email, not like just, hey, Whitney, what's up? Great to be in the show. Goodbye. But it's like, hey, Whitney, what's up? Great to be in the show. By the way, check all these listings out that just hit the market. And if I see you opening up that email multiple times and clicking on the link, and if you do it more than 3 times, then I know that you're interested. So what we did is we spent time collecting all of the email addresses and knowing who the assistants and the brokers are, and monitoring what if they have any new listings on their own website. And then what happens is then the team, we have a team that basically like literally just adds them to the CRM. There's a bunch of automation solutions, adds them to our CRM and clicks a button and it pushes it out to this email system that basically sends out personalized emails. And it says, hey, Whitney, subject line, it says like 3,000 square feet or 50,000 square feet, the address of the building, suite, whatever, or just no suite. It says, hey, congratulations on the new listing. We can do X, Y, and Z for X amount of dollars. Here's a sample. Let me know. And then basically you spend time collecting the information and looking for a signal that somebody might be interested in. Then you basically are able to automate this. And all the sales reps have to do is basically just look at how many opens are doing, how many clicks, and then calling on those people actively. So it's basically just kind of hacking your way. It's like saying, okay, if I have 100 people to call, you can't call 100 people in a day. It's just impossible. You'd spend more than 12 to 13 hours doing it. But what you can do is you can send them all an email and then see the top 5 people that you should call today. And then that recurs. So using email and like looking at the way that the systems work to give you a signal, we call them buying signals. So being able to always say, okay, what's a buying signal for this, right? Like, if somebody steps into a 7-Eleven, they're either hungry or they need something, right? There's high intent of a purchase. So you try to think of life the same way when you're dealing with commercial real estate, but looking at efficient and looking for ways to seek out and identify buying signals has been just a great game changer for our team.
One thing that's contributed to your success, Andrew?
Reading and talking to and getting mentors, really.
What about how do you like to give back?
Oh, I do a lot of that. So it's actually really fun. I live by the philosophy of paying it forward. I help out other entrepreneurs. Like I get a lot of our investors and like friends that are entrepreneurs will ask me, hey, can you help this guy out? A lot of commercial real estate professionals reach out to me on LinkedIn. Robbie's one of them. There's a few more, and they want some help. They're like, hey, I'm doing this. Can you give me some feedback? And I'm like, happy to do it. So I do that. I'm also on the board of Cal State Fullerton, so the University of the Center for Real Estate, helping the students kind of figure out what they want to do in the real estate field. And I think that's pretty much it right now. My wife and I will donate to, like, she loves dogs and I do too. So we'll try to, contribute. She contributes her time to being able to like foster dogs when we have the space, and contributing at events and things like that. But it's really fun to be able to help somebody out and have them make a difference.
Awesome. Well, Andrew, it's a pleasure to meet you and pleasure to have you on the show and really get to learn about Dixie. Dixie, I've not heard of it before now, but just everything it can do and automate for numerous parties in this business. Not just one side, but both sides of the deal, and just automating so much of letting you know who you need to call. I mean, like you just said a minute ago, narrowing that list from 100 to the top 5. I mean, that just saves you so much time, allows you to have so much more focus on the most important customers. That's crucial. So grateful to get to know you. Tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you.
Sure. I'm on LinkedIn, very active on LinkedIn. So go to just look for Andrew Bermudez on LinkedIn. I'm also active on Twitter. That's easy. It's at Andrew Bermudez, all one word on there. You can also find me on Instagram and all the social networks, but LinkedIn, Twitter, you can find me right away. And if you want to, check us out, it's getdigsy.com. I'm sure you'll put that in the show notes, so I'll leave it there. And please reach out with any questions. I'm happy to help.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.